Yes, good evening, everyone. One more session in a string of sessions, the online sessions, which are organized by the departments of English of the Postgraduate Teaching Department, RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur, Shri Binzani City College, Nagpur, Rajkumar Keval Ramani Kanya Mahavidyalaya, Nagpur, Vasantara Naik Government Institute of Arts and Social Sciences, Nagpur, R.S. Mundle Dharampet College of Arts and Commerce, Mahila Mahavidyalaya, Nagpur, and J.M. Patel Arts, Commerce and Science College, Bhandara. All the PG departments have come together, and this is the second session that we have organized on research methodology. Today, we have with us as the resource person, Dr. Manjushree Sardeshpande, Madam. She is an associate professor and the head of the Department of English, working at R.S. Mundle Dharampet Arts and Commerce College. On behalf of all the collaborating colleges, I welcome Madam to this platform and request her to take the unit 4th of the research methodology paper. Ma'am, welcome.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. So should I start?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay. So a very good evening to all the students, all the participants who are here. And this is a session on research methodology, and we are going to concentrate on the 4th unit. And I think you all, by now, you people are familiar with the paper pattern also. And we have some portion which is for non-detailed, that is background study. And there are some portions which are prescribed for detailed study. So as it is, the background study, we'll be having some short notes on background study, which carry 4 marks. And so you don't need to write much, but you should know the topic. So as it is, we have 1.5 hours. So we'll the background study will be done according to the requirement, and then we'll move on to the detailed study part. So in this part, before I start my session, I'll just share my screen. Yes, students, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, this is visible.
Okay. And as you know, I have taken this from a book so that, you know, once the session is over, you can use this material for your examination also. So this will be there with you in the form of the recording. Sir, class madhe. So the first topic is Project Gutenberg. How many of you have used Project Gutenberg? Yes, how many? I know you people are in the MA, and but still, if you are into the habit of reading, you must have read some books on Project Gutenberg. There are so many books which are available, and they are free. Yes, all the books which are in the public domain, they are available here, and there are more than 70,000 books which are available. So, you know, if you've not heard of this, you should get into the habit of such sites which are there, such apps which are there on your mobile, and get into the habit of reading, because there are so many free books which are available. Okay, so this is one of them. This is Project Gutenberg. Have you, and you know, you should interact also with me, so that, you know, I come to know whether you people are aware of all these things. So how many of you are aware of Project Gutenberg? At least one or two? Anyone? Okay. Then what is this Project Gutenberg? Just now I told you, it is a volunteer effort to digitize and archive cultural works, as well as to encourage the creation and distribution of ebooks. So there are so many, like, it is a digital storage. So that's why it has many ebooks which are freely available for you. It was founded in 1971 by American writer Michael Hart, and it is the oldest digital library. So if you have not heard of this, please, you can type Project Gutenberg and just browse through the library. Most of the items in its collection are the full text of books or individual stories in the public domain. What do you mean by public domain? So now they don't have, they are out of copyright, this thing. So, you can read them freely. All files can be accessed for free under the open format layout, available on almost any computer. So whatever computer you have, you will be able to access this Project Gutenberg. As of 3rd October 2015, Project Gutenberg had reached 50,000 items in its collection of free books. And just now when I checked, this data is of 2015, but now we have more than 70,000 books available here. The releases are available in plain text as well as other formats such as HTML, PDF, EPUB, MOBI. So, it is not difficult for you because all these things are there in your laptops or desktops, and wherever it is possible, you can open this. Most releases are in the English language, but many non-English works are also available. So there are multiple affiliated projects that provide additional content, including region and language specific works. So it's not only about English, but you can get works from different languages also. Project Gutenberg is closely affiliated with Distributed Proofreaders, an internet-based community for proofreading scanned texts. Okay, Project Gutenberg is named after the inventor. So all this is information which is given in short. Okay, Project Gutenberg is named after the inventor Johannes Gutenberg, whose works in developing printing technology led to an increase in the mass availability of books. So he's the person who is responsible for making such a rich, collection of books available for all of us. Okay, so you can write this much for 4 marks, and I'll be sharing these notes also, so that you can, if you want, you can read and you can expand your answers and you can get information also. Okay, so this much is okay. And then we move on to the next topic. This is Project Gutenberg. There are so many things which are available here. I'm going to share this and you can read, and you can add more if you want. So now, research style. The second thing is research style. Now, what is research style? Now, you know that whenever you are writing a research paper, academic papers, whenever you are writing a book, you need to write it in different for example, literature follows a typical style. If you are following medicine, if there are papers on medicine, they follow a particular style. So when creating academic papers, it is crucial for researchers to document all sources of information. So whenever you write some academic, whenever you are into research, you need to do the documentation properly. You need to put the information properly, including those in research papers, presentations, and other scientific projects. So properly citing the original works of other authors help readers easily locate and reference the sources used. So if you have taken a topic and if you are using material, because whatever topic you are writing on, you need to research on that topic. So there are many other people also who must have written on that topic. So you need to weigh the views and opinions of others also, and then you need to put it together so that others would also know what has already gone before. So you need to cite, you need to give the information properly about the material which you have taken, about the views and opinions of the authors which you have taken, about the other research work which you must have referred. Okay, so properly citing the original work of other authors, they help readers easily locate the reference, the sources used, because when you use the proper style, there is information given about the author, the publisher, the page number, if it is an article, from which journal it has been taken. So the whole information is given in that, and you have to follow that particular style. We'll be talking about the style also. Additionally, accurate and appropriate citation. So if you give the citation properly, it helps to prevent plagiarism. What is plagiarism? That also we are going to talk in detail. So plagiarism is when you there is violation of academic integrity, when you take somebody else's work and when you don't give credit to that particular person, then it is called plagiarism. So you have to avoid plagiarism when you take some material or when you refer some material from other sources, you have to give them proper credit. Due credit means you have to mention the name of the person whose information you have taken. So to ensure originality and avoid plagiarism detection, individuals may learn how to beat Turnitin. So there is a Turnitin software, Turnitin is a plagiarism checker. It is a software which checks plagiarism. But there are people who know how to avoid Turnitin also, but that is not our aim. We should know how to basically, we'll talk about plagiarism when we come to that topic, but basically we should cite the author from the source or from the author from where we have taken the view, opinion, or the research work. Okay. So 3 strategies for including the work of other authors. So whenever we are doing a research, it is, you have to consult different sources, because you should know thoroughly about that topic, what has gone before. So for that, you have to refer other works. You have to refer other authors and in one's own paper, and what are the different ways by which you will use other people's material. So maybe you will quote. So one is quoting, then paraphrasing. You will read something and paraphrase that material, or you will summarize that material. So there are many ways by which you take other, where you refer the research work from other sources. So in academic writing, it is crucial to document all sources of information used in research papers, articles, presentations, and other academic projects. So proper citation allows readers to easily access and consult the sources used. So, so this is the importance of proper citation. So that, if they want to read about whatever sources you have cited, if they want to read more about that, they can, with the help of the site, with the help of the information which you have given, what you said, in the style in which you have quoted, that will help. For example, for literature, we use MLA style. So, it gives you proper information about the author, about the journal, and then you can go to that journal. And if you want to read some more information, you can read. So there are 3 methods for incorporating another author's work into your own paper. So I told you already, it is quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. These are the 3 ways. So direct quotation involves repeating the original text. So if you take it directly, if you take the words from the journal or from the book, and if you take the words as it is and you put it in your research paper, that is called quoting. Then when you quote, you have to put it in inverted commas. Okay. So direct quotation, what is direct quotation? It involves repeating the original text word for word. So you just copy paste it, and then it is called word for word. Okay. Again, there is, when you work in detail, you can, right now this is for short notes, therefore I'm not going in detail. But you should know how much direct you can quote directly, how much portion you can quote directly, because you cannot quote in paragraphs and big paragraphs and all, that is not allowed. So direct quotation involves repeating the original text word for word and including a reference to the original author. So giving the reference of the original author is mandatory. It is used when the exact wording of the passage is critical to the argument. Many a times, you have to give the original words, you have to give the apt words. So therefore, you cannot paraphrase those things. You have to use the original words. So at that time, you need to quote. Then paraphrase. Now, what is paraphrasing? Paraphrasing involves restating a passage from the original text using your own words. So what you are doing is read the passage, then you put the information in your own words and make the sentence structure according to it should be different from the original. So you can make your own sentence structure. The author of the original text must also be referenced. But here also, even though you have paraphrased the thing, still you should give credit to the original author. So paraphrasing is commonly used in research papers and essays to demonstrate an understanding of a source and to highlight its main points. In research, it is very important because, when you talk of review literature, whenever you are researching on a topic, you need to first thoroughly go through many research papers to get an idea of the topic on which you are conducting your research. So for that, and then you need to find out what is written in each and every paper. You should get the key points of that particular paper. And then you know what are the opinions of different writers, and what has already been said about on that particular topic. Summarizing involves reproducing only the most important ideas and essential points of a source in your own words. So either you quote, or you paraphrase, or you summarize. There are so many things which you need to put. Maybe in a research paper, you will find about 5-10 things which are of importance. So what you can do is collect all the points, and you can summarize the points and use it in your research work. So these are the important ideas and essential points which you are taking from the source. It condenses a larger statement into shorter explanation. So you don't need to write and copy as it is. You can just summarize whatever you have read in your own words. But the original source must also be referenced. So referencing is very important. The purpose of summarizing is similar to that of paraphrasing, but it is used to make a longer text shorter. Many a times you cannot write, like if it is in 2-3 pages, and if all those things are important, but at that time you need to summarize those points so that in short you can write. But it is used to make a longer text shorter, such as explaining a lengthy chapter, article, or book in a shorter essay or paragraph. Okay. So this is, and there are many ways by which you can cite. Just now I told you there are 3 ways: quoting, paraphrasing, summarizing. Then how do you cite all these? There are nowadays, there are citation, there are citation machines also. Nowadays, you get everything ready-made, and on the net, if you have everything so handy. For example, 1 or 2 you can cite. For example, night site. Deliberately, I've not made a PowerPoint presentation so that you can get this information in detail. See, night site is a free citation generator. This is a citation generator only. Okay. And this is especially used for MLA and APA style and Chicago styles. For English literature, mostly MLA style is used, but even APA style is used for social sciences. So, there is a night site. So what you can do is go to internet, type in night site, and see how the citation generator is used. All these are fascinating things, If you are going to do your research after this, you should be familiar with all these apps, and different websites are also there which help you with so many things. Nowadays, as you have Google Translator, you have Content Spinner, we'll talk about Content Spinner also. So that automatically the information is changed into different words. So it is a content spinner. So it helps you to avoid plagiarism. So night site, remember this, it is free citation generator. Then again, Slate is a citation machine that instantly creates MLA and APA citations. So this is also fantastic. So you can just type and see how do they work. Right now, it's just for short notes, so you don't have to write long answers. Again, there are nowadays electronic sources. We don't have just print, but we have electronic sources also. And students they inquire about the proper way to cite electronic primary sources. Because, when you are citing from books, when you are citing from journals, you know how to cite, because there is a way how things need to be cited. But as far as electronic sources are concerned, many people don't know how to cite the electronic sources. So there is no universal template for citing electronic sources, since different fields and disciplines require distinct writing formats. So you should know the different style guides. So if you, even in your computer, if you are using Microsoft Word, you have in manage sources, you can go and find out the different styles. MLA style, APA styles are there. And right now I can show you, but again, right now I'm sharing my screen, so I don't think I'll be able to show you that. But if you are maybe if after the end of the session, if I get time, I'll show you how it is there in your Word document. Okay. So you must consult a specific style guide, such as MLA, APA, Chicago style. Now, each of these styles, they have their own set of rules for citing these electronic sources. Okay. Now, there are some, like for example, in APA style, Now, APA style is commonly used for citation and formatting in the social sciences. Okay, I told you this earlier, including psychology, sociology, linguistics, economics, criminology. So for that, you can use APA style. And then if you are using MLA style is used for liberal arts and humanities for citation and formatting purposes. So if liberal arts, humanities, so we are students of literature, so we use this MLA style, okay? Then if it is CGOS style, this is Columbia Guide to Online Style, written by Janice Walker and Todd Taylor. CBE style, so you can, for biology, this style is used. So there are different styles. Harvard style. Now in Harvard style of citation is commonly used in humanities. So this is also, but you know, if you are going to write a paper in some journal, they they give you, they mention the style in which they want the paper to be submitted. So we have to stick to that particular style. So this Harvard style of citation is commonly used in humanities field, particularly in the UK and Australia. So if you are working in UK and Australia, then you have to use Harvard style. Okay. Now Chicago style. So Chicago style, this and the Turabian style, they share similarities and are primarily used in the fields of history and economics. So for history and economics, you use Chicago style. Okay. Now, what is this? Basically, style means what? What is this? What do you mean by the style? Actually, they talk about, already I have told you in advance, what do you mean by the style? It talks about the name of the author, the year in which it was published, then the name of the publisher, then basically if it is the journal article, then the name of the journal also, page numbers also. So all these things are there, and how they need to be written, it differs according to different styles. If it is APA style, it is different. Maybe some of the years are written in parentheses, and if it is MLA style, the way the referencing is done is different. So these are different styles in which the information regarding the source is written. Okay, so this much is enough for research style. And then we move on to impact factor. Now there are as far as impact factor is concerned, now you know that when we say that yes, publish your journal, but the journal should be a reputed journal and it should have a particular impact factor. And if you are a professor and if you are going in for your promotions or something, you need to write articles which in journals which have good impact factor. So what do you mean by impact factor? You know, so we'll talk about impact factor. The impact factor or journal impact factor, that is IF or GIF of an academic journal, is scientometric index calculated by Clarivate. This is a corporation which calculates this impact factor that reflects the yearly mean number of citations of articles published in the last 2 years. For example, in a journal, if they calculate the number of citations from a particular journal. So if they are getting more citations from a particular journal, that shows the importance of that journal, and therefore that journal will be will have a greater impact factor. So the impact factor is calculated for the last 2 years. Okay, the number of citations divided by the number of items which are cited from that particular journal. So this is the ratio which is taken. Number of citations from a journal, and like if this journal has been cited so many times, so that is the number of citations from that journal, and then divided by the number of items from that particular journal. Okay, only one thing is cited, or maybe 10 things are cited from the how many items are cited. So that is the ratio which they calculate. So as a journal level metric, it is frequently used as a proxy for the relative importance of a journal within its field. Now, journal with higher impact factor values are given the status of being more important. Just now I told you that. So if a journal has bigger impact factor, more than if marks are given, if a journal has more than 5, the impact factor is more than 5, then it is said to be a good journal with and the points given to the article which is published in such journal, the points are also higher. So journals with higher impact factor values are given the status of being more important. They carry more prestige in their respective fields than those with lower values. So you have to choose. When you want to give your article, you should see the impact factor. This is the most important thing. You should see what is the impact. They will tell you, they will help you to understand whether a journal is a good journal, whether a journal is what you say it is it is a reputed journal. It is, you know, because there are so many fake journals also. So you should be careful and you should publish only in authentic journals. So while frequently used by universities and funding bodies, now there are so many funding bodies. There are bodies which funding bodies means these bodies which fund for conducting research. So they want the research also to be published in journals of repute. So they will decide on, and then your promotions are decided, your research proposals are decided on what type of journals you are publishing your research. So it has come under attack for distorting good scientific practices. So there are, you know, both sides. There are some fake journals. There are people say that, you know, there are many things which are talked on the regarding the other side of the impact factor also. But right now we are not going to concentrate on that because this is only for short note. So what is an impact factor? This is what you should know. The impact factor was devised by Eugene Garfield, the founder of the Institute of Scientific Information. You must have heard of ISI in Philadelphia. So impact factors, they began to be calculated yearly starting from 1975 for journals listed in journal citation reports. So we have journal citation reports also. And ISI was acquired by Thomson Scientific and Healthcare in 1992. And it became known as Thomson ISI in 2018. Thomson Reuters spun off and sold ISI to Onyx Corporation and Baring Private Equity Asia. They founded a new corporation, Clarivate, which is now the publisher of the JCR. JCR means Journal Citation Report. So you should refer this Journal Citation Report. They talk to you about they calculate this impact factor, and this is considered to be authentic. So while originally invented as a tool to help university librarians to decide which journals to purchase, because nowadays there are so many research journals which are published, so we should also know which journals are really useful and which journals are authentic, which are really reputed. So the librarians, this impact factor will help the librarians to decide which journals need to be purchased. So slowly, you know, initially it was just for the librarians, but then the impact factor soon became used. It became used as a measure for judging academic success. So the use of impact factor was summarized by Hiffel in 1998. So what did he say? He said that impact factor is not a perfect tool to measure the quality of articles. If you want to see the article quality of articles, that is not a perfect tool, but still you can get some idea. There is nothing better. And, you know, it has the advantage of already being in existence and is therefore a good technique for scientific evaluation. But, you know, when you have so many things, how will you decide which journal is good? You cannot go on reading each and every journal. So if you want to really go in for a journal which is a quality journal, then you should have some means, you should have some method, and therefore impact factor will help you. So experience has shown that in each specialty, the best journal are those in which it is the most difficult to have an article accepted. You know, if it is a fake journal, if it is not a reputed journal, if it is not a quality journal, your articles would be accepted immediately. But if it is a quality journal, you know, if it is a peer-reviewed journal, it will take some time. They will take some time and really review your journal and review your article. And only if it is a quality article, they will publish. So it is very difficult for you to publish in a quality journal. So if it is really difficult to have an article accepted, and these are the journals that have high impact factor. So most of the journals existed long before the impact factor was devised. The use of impact factor as a measure of quality is widespread because it fits well with the opinion we have in each field of the best journals in our specialty. So, this is all about impact factor. There are so many other things also. There are some criticism which is available here, but for a short note, this much is enough, I think. Now we move on to the next. This is citation and viva voce, I think. Viva voce. What is a citation now? So citation, you know that earlier also we talked of about citation. What is a citation? It is a reference to a source. So that is a citation. You quote. You quote from different sources. So that is a citation. More precisely, a citation is an abbreviated, because it is in small. So it is an abbreviated alphanumeric expression embedded in the body of an intellectual work that denotes an entry in the bibliographic reference section of the work for the purpose of acknowledging the reference of works of others to the topic of discussion at the spot where the citation appears. So, if you want to take some material, if you want to use citation means taking from some other research work. If you're going to quote, if you're going to take from a book, we already talked about that, then it is a reference to the source. So basically, it is the way to tell your readers that certain material in your work, it has come from other source. Okay. What is a citation? Now here it is a little difficult for you to understand, but let me make it easy. So what is a citation? It is the way you tell your readers that's this material, this particular thing which I've taken, it has come from another source, and you quote that source. It also gives your readers the information necessary. It will tell the readers where to find this information. You have taken it from source, but what is the source? You give information about that source also. So it gives information, it tells your readers the information which is necessary to find the location details of that source on the reference or works cited page. So you will get the information in small in the body also. It is embedded in the body, and it is given in the bibliography, or it is given in the works cited also. Okay. Generally, the combination of both the in-body side, there is in-body side. In-body means when you are writing your research paper, while writing, you take some material, you take some opinion, you take some ideas, and you put it in your research work. So that is when you when you are writing, it is the body of your material, it is the body of your paper. So that is in-body citation. And the bibliographic entry, that is the works cited, the place where you enter your works cited details. There also you can find these citations, the information regarding the citation, from where it has been taken. Citations have several important purposes. Now, what is the importance of citation? While they use this for upholding intellectual honesty. So this is intellectual honesty. Intellectual honesty means what? Yes, you are giving the credit to the from where you have taken. So you have given the credit to the author whose ideas you have borrowed. So that is intellectual honesty. And bolstering claims are typically foregrounded in teaching materials and style guides. That is correct attribution of insights. So you are attributing the insights to previous sources is just one of these purposes. So you attribute, yes, some work has been done on this, and I attribute the credit to the owner of this, or to the person from whom I have taken this idea. Okay, it is his ideas. Linguistic analysis of citation practices has indicated that they also serve critical roles in orchestrating the state of knowledge on a particular topic. So you come to state of knowledge, you come to know how much research has been done on that particular topic. What is the level of research which has been done? So you know the state of affairs. Then you can identify the gaps. So when you are taking up research, you should find out the research gaps. What has gone before? What needs to be done? So that is, unless and until you read what has gone before, you will not come to know the research gap or what needs to be found or what needs to be worked on. So that is the research gap. So in the existing knowledge that should be filled or describing areas where inquiries should be continued or replicated. You need to inquire more on a particular area. You need you need to describe more on a particular aspect. So all these things you tend to find out the gaps. You have to find out the area which needs to be worked on. So identifying the gaps is the critical thing, which is the most important thing of any research. Citation has also been identified as a critical means by which researchers establish stance. Stance means they take a stand. Okay. So when you are doing your research, you need to take a stand. You need to have your own opinion also. So that is your stance. That is your opinion. You take a point of view. Because up till now, what has been said, and now what you want to say, what you need to add more. Because until and unless you have your own opinion, until and unless you have some addition to it, it cannot be a new research. It cannot be a new addition. It cannot be a, so, you know, so citations, they help you to establish your stance, aligning themselves with or against subgroups. So there are so many groups. There are, when you read, when you are doing a literature review, you come to know about different views and opinions. You come to know the different stance, different what you say, ideas about different authors, and you can either align with them or you can have a different opinion. So it is working on similar. So, you know, you need to read more about people who are working on a similar project and staking out opportunities for creating new knowledge. So this is these basically citations, they help you to establish yourself, finding out new knowledge. Okay, so this much I think is important. And then, you know, you can just browse that citations, you know, depending on the type of source, and the citation can be a book. And here it is, you know, it is given that, for example, if you are taking something from the book, how it needs to be cited. See, book, besides the book, it is written author. So you have to write the name of the author, then the book title, then place of publication, then publisher, then date of publication, and page numbers if appropriate. And again, it depends on, again, in APA style, it is written in a different way. In MLA style, it is written in a particular style. So you need to go according to the style. Then see the journal entry, how a journal entry is given, then how newspapers citations are given, how website citations are given. If something you have taken from a play, how it needs to be written, poem, then interview. If it is an interview, the name of the interviewer, then interview descriptor, date of interview, all these things are very, very important. Now there are some unique identifiers also. For example, if it is a book, then you have to quote the ISBN number of also, that is the International Standard Book Number. Then if it is a specific volume number 1, 2, you have to mention the volume also. So, you know, these are the ways in which citations are given. We move ahead now, and again, you can read in detail how word referencing is done, how MLA referencing is done. See a MLA, if you can see the MLA reference, if you can see my cursor in the MLA referencing, in your in-body citation, you just have to give the name of the author, then it is the name of the, maybe the book or the journal, and it is the page number. So just this much is there in in-body citation. So there are different styles in which referencing or citation is done. So now we move ahead, and now we move ahead to the next part, and it is viva voce. So viva voce is also important, because after you conduct your research, you will have to appear for an interview, you will have to give your viva, so that you will be tested for your knowledge. Now, viva voce is a form of oral assessment. So it is an oral assessment that helps students develop valuable communication skills. You know, if you have knowledge, that is not enough. You should be able to communicate that knowledge, because if you're not able to communicate it properly, then people will not understand what you want to say. So viva voce is important. Viva voce is defined as an examination. It is an oral examination conducted by speech or assessment, in which a student's response to the assessment task is verbal. Verbal means where you have to talk, in the sense of being expressed or conveyed by speech instead of writing. So here in viva voce, you need to speak. Assessment can be conducted by one or more assessors. There can be more than one examiner. So now, when to use a viva voce? So viva voce assessments are useful for examining a significant part of the syllabus. So viva, it's not only for research, but even during your teaching learning process also, if you want to find out whether students have understood the part of syllabus which you have taught, you can use this viva voce for assessment of the students, examining a significant part, important part of the syllabus, allowing students to think on their feet and express themselves meaningfully. So you can ask questions, and they should be able to think. Basically, making them think is very important. So demonstrating students' ability to reflect and think critically in real time, because the conceptual clarity is very, very important. And you can find out whether the students have understood the concepts only when you talk to them, only when you because when you talk, the students express, and from the expressions you come to know whether they have understood the concept, or whether they have whether they are thinking on the wrong lines, so that you can administer the correct, you can give them training, and you can bring them on the correct line. Distinguishing between superficial and in-depth learning. So you will be able to find out whether they have just learned superficially, or really they have understood in depth. So this is then objective examining. It is factual recall. They should be able to recall whatever they have learned. Then they should be able to apply the knowledge, So application of the knowledge is very important. It is whether they are able to use the knowledge in different circumstances is also important. Ability to synthesize and ability to communicate, all these things can be assessed through viva. Answering direct questions allows students to demonstrate the achievement of learning outcomes. So, whenever you teach something, that it is focused, there are certain learning outcomes. You want the students to learn particular things. You want them to be competent in particular things, and then you can verify whether whatever you wanted them to learn, or whatever was required in the syllabus, whether those things have been achieved or not. So this is one of the ways by which you can find out. Enable students to read and revise a substantial amount of content. Anything can be asked is usual case with viva. So, it is not limited to certain things, but in viva, you can, whatever is prescribed, you can really ask anything which is there in the syllabus. Often cited as oral communication skill considered valuable for employment. So, generally interviews are conducted, and interviews are mostly oral. There are written examination also, but mostly if you want to understand a person, you need to have oral examination, oral interviews. For a well-constructed viva examination, a series of candidates can be asked the same questions, and their answers can be compared and evaluated. So this is one of the ways. Same questions can be asked, and how a particular candidate responds to the questions will be very, very important. So your thinking capacity, what goes, how do you think? It will be a crucial thing when you are judged. So things to keep in mind when developing viva voce assessments. Remember these points. How do you know if a person wants to conduct this viva? Make sure that the focus of each question is aligned with content and learning outcomes. So you should know, you should be focused. Whatever you want your students to really focus on, concentrate your questions on that particular area. Consider asking open-ended questions. So, encouraging answers that are not limited to yes or no. So they should be able to give, if it is yes, why yes? If it is no, why no? So you should be able to come to a conclusion why this particular person has come to this particular answer. That is, how has he come to this conclusion? So what is his thinking, line of thinking? That is important. Don't ask questions that are too long or complex, as the student might not be able to capture the whole question. So these are from both the points, how to give a viva and how to formulate a viva. Okay, these are the things which these are some of the tips which are given as to how a viva is conducted and what are the things and what kind of an assessment is a viva. So, gathering student feedback on the process of viva can help ascertain its value as assessment. So after the viva also you can take a feedback whether whether the purpose for which the viva had been conducted, whether you have achieved that purpose or not. So, taking a feedback is very important. So all these are the tips, and this is in short about viva voce. Now we move on to the things which you need to do in detailed study. So there are certain things which are prescribed for detailed study. The first and foremost thing which is prescribed for detailed study is tools and techniques for literary research. So as it is, when you think of literary research, what are the tools and techniques? So basically, the most important thing is this literary research, it is a practical guide for students embarking on postgraduate work in literary studies. It introduces and explains research techniques. So what are the techniques when you want to go in for research? What are the tools and techniques which you should use? What are the methodologies which you should use? How should be the research approach? Where to get the information from? So to paying careful attention to the differences between countries and institutions and providing a range of key examples. Now, literary research involves the study and analysis of literature. So we students of literature, we are now going to concentrate on the analysis of literature, because we want to basically, we are into interpretation and analysis, and there are so many novels, poems, plays, other forms of written expression, and you need to understand the tools, the tools which will help you to analyze all these different kinds of literature. Now, the first and foremost thing is library resources. Library resources, because, in library, again, using library catalog to search for books, you should know how to, because library is the most important thing for people from literature. Journals, you will get books, journals, other resources related to your topic. Many libraries also offer online access to their catalog. So you can, sitting at home also, you can have an access online to the catalogs, because nowadays everything is digitalized. Now, digital libraries are also there. Okay. So explore digital libraries like, yes, we talked of Project Gutenberg. It is a very old, it has a collection of nearly 70,000 books. So it is a great library. Google Books, Digital Public Library of America, for access to a wide range of literary works. So many things are available free. So you can have an access to these. So these are good sources. Then academic database. There is some academic database also. For example, Jester. This is journal storage. There are so many journals which are stored online, and you can get access to these. Then there are MLA International Bibliography and ProQuest. You can just type ProQuest and see what kind of material is available. All these are especially for literature. They focus on literature, social sciences. So they are not for science. They are only for social sciences and literature. So these database provide scholarly articles, book reviews, and other academic resources related to literature. This is important. So if you are doing your research, you should refer Jester, MLA International Bibliography, and ProQuest. Then Google Scholar. If you have, like how we have Google Chrome, we have Google Scholar also. So go to use Google Scholar and see how many, there are n number of journals which are there it is a powerful tool for finding scholarly articles, books, and conference papers. Make sure to check if you have access to the full text through your institution. So what you can do is, the institutions also are members of so many libraries, online libraries. So, you don't have to pay separately. You can become a member. You can, through your institution also, you can get access to so many digital libraries and online libraries. Then there are reference works also. All these are tools and techniques from where you can get help for your research. Then there are encyclopedias. Consult literary encyclopedias to get background information on authors. Then there are literary movements and specific works. So you can get help from here also. Then dictionaries are there, specialized dictionaries. These dictionaries of literary terms. There are some special dictionaries for literary terms. They can be valuable for understanding terminology. Then citation management also. You have endnotes. There are, how to manage your citations. This is also very important. There are two apps, Zotero and Mendeley. These are very important apps. These tools, they help you to organize and manage your citations. Nowadays, like in your Microsoft Word document also, you have those managed sources. But apart from these, in this Zotero and Mendeley, what you can do is you can write down quotations which you want, or important sentences which you want. That also you can make a list, or whatever. In short, you can write what is given in this particular journal. In short, the gist of the journal also you can write then and there. So, you can make a comparison of the different journals. What is, like, your research, you are doing a literature review, and instead of just it's very difficult for you to write it on a pen and using a pen and paper, because here, while making notes also, you are making your bibliography also side by side, and works cited and all those things come automatically. You don't have to do anything manually. So while you are making a note of the author, where you are making a note of the entries of the journal, you are also making note of what is there in that particular journal. You cannot go again every now and then. You cannot go back to the journal and see what is there. You tend to forget. So, side by side, these tools help you to make a note of the gist of the journal also. Okay. Then text analysis tools are also there. Now, this Voyant tools and Kong text analysis tools, they can help you to analyze patterns. So when you have referred maybe 15, 20 journals, you come to know the pattern of the analysis pattern which is there on the topic on which you are researching. So you will get an idea, you will get a pattern. Oh, so these are the things, these are the ways people have thought earlier, and I think differently. So what is my way of thinking? What is my way of approaching this particular area? So, it is, these tools are of great help. Earlier, everything used to be done, with the help of paper, and everything used to be done manually. But now you have you have these tools with you, and they're of great help. Then what are the themes? You can just have a reference of all the themes which you must have come across in different journals. So make a list of the different themes. Make a list of what is the general pattern. Okay. Linguistic elements within the text. What are the linguistic elements which are there within the text? Then digital humanities resources, digital literary archives. Explore digital archives and collections that provide access to manuscripts, letters, and other primary sources. So all these things are now readily available. Earlier, you used to people were required to go to Mumbai, Delhi, Coimbatore, or maybe Madurai, and visit different libraries, collect material. But now, as everything is digitized, you get everything sitting at home. So text mining tool is also there. Tools like Python's NLTK. NLTK means Natural Language Toolkit. So, or Spacy. This Spacy is also important. It can be used for more advanced text analysis and computational literary studies. So, For text analysis, you can make use of text mining tools. These are very important tools. Online writing and collaboration. Before now, you people are in your MA. So when you think of doing your research, before doing your research, you should be, well versed with all these tools, because they really help you do things faster. And they are, everything is so organized. If you know how to just learn all these, and they are self-learning material, so you can understand how to get used to all these tools. So Google Docs, Microsoft Word Online, collaborative writing platforms can facilitate group projects and peer review. Then online writing communities are there. Platforms like Academia Edu. If you have, all this information I'm giving you, you can just type it and see what is Academia Edu. There are so many papers which you will find on Academia Edu. ResearchGate, it allows you to share your work and connect with other researchers. So you share your research works, you will get comments, you will get a review of whatever you have written. So this is also helpful to get connected with other people from your area of research. Now, literature review techniques. Systematic literature review. Follow a structured approach to reviewing existing literature on a specific topic. So that is important, doing a systematic literature review. Then concept mapping. Use tools like Coggle or MindMeister to visually organize and connect ideas in your literature reviews. So in literature review, again, you read so many different journals, you read different books. All those are secondary sources, and you have to, visually organize. You know which things go together, so you have to put them properly, structure them properly. So, concept mapping is very important. Interviews and surveys. These are also great tools to understand the novel or the author. If the author is alive, and if you take an interview, you come to know what has gone into the writing of the novel or the book which the author has written. So, interviews are very important because they are first-hand information. So they tend to be the primary source also. Primary research. Conduct interviews or surveys to gather first-hand information or opinions on a specific literary topic. Then use social media, online forums. So nowadays, you people are younger Z generation, and you are making use of Twitter, Reddit, academic blogs. So engage with the academic community. Up till now, you must have had your friends, but now you engage with academic community, share ideas, gather insights from scholars and enthusiasts in the field. All these are the different tools and techniques to carry out your research. Now we move on to online and printed sources. This is another important thing. Online and printed resources. Now, there are online resources also. Just now we talked about books are available, books are printed also, and they are available online also. Nowadays, all the books are converted into e-books. Most of the books which were published earlier, they have also now been converted into e-books for the benefit of everybody, because you don't need to buy a book now. You can just open your computers and you can read any book which you want, because most of the books are free. Only the new books which are not into the public domain, you need to buy. And or if the e-books, mostly if nowadays they have that Kindle edition also, so they are not so costly, and you can really read them at your leisure also, because they are 24/7 available on your laptops. So so let us see which are the online and which are the printed resources. Okay. Now, electronic resources play a very important role. It plays a vital role in modern library collections, providing a wealth of digital material that offers vast opportunities for research. So, we have a lot of digital material, and it is available for research, learning, and information access. Nowadays, it is an information explosion only. So much of information is available online. These resources encompass a wide range of formats. Now, this information is available in different formats. We have ebooks, we have online journals, then we have databases, multimedia content, web-based resources. Now, one of the key advantages of electronic resources is their accessibility. So this is important because, books are not available, books are not accessible. Many a times they are not available in your town. But, as far as the electronic resources are concerned, so their accessibility is very easy. As users can access them remotely from anywhere. You can sit anywhere. You can be in a remote village, and you can access material from there also with an internet connection, eliminating the constraints of physical location. You don't have to go personally anywhere, but you can sit and read at your leisure with, and opening up a world of knowledge. So if you have internet connection, the world of knowledge is open for you. Moreover, electronic resources often offer advanced search functionalities, allowing users to quickly and efficiently navigate through extensive database. So you can navigate, you can browse through so much of information, so many database, so many libraries are there. There are so many different databases which are available, and you can retrieve targeted information. Whatever information you want, your targeted information is available to you at your fingertips. And the digital format also enables interactive features, multimedia elements, and hyperlinks, enhancing the learning experience and facilitating deeper engagement with the content. So, if it is, nowadays, the digital format has become very interesting also. It can, if you don't understand, a particular meaning, they will give you the picture of that particular concept, so you will be able to understand it better. So all those things are very there is a hyperlink. It will take you to that particular meaning of the word, or the film which is being talked about, or something. You will get the hyperlinks to the connected things, and you will get an idea about that word, about that concept which is being referred to. So it is very handy, and it is helpful to understand the concept, enhancing the learning experience. And you get a deeper it engages you, because in books maybe you just have words, but with electronic media you have pictures, it transports you to that particular place. So it is a deeper engagement with the content. So electronic resources provide libraries with the ability to offer diverse and comprehensive collection that keeps pace with rapidly evolving fields of study. So by harnessing the power of electronic resources, libraries can expand their reach, provide greater convenience to their users, and contribute to the dissemination and discovery of knowledge in the digital age. So many things are available on the net, and learning becomes a pleasure. It becomes very interesting also to read and understand. Then there are some printed resources also. This was about the electronic resources, but now you have some printed resources also. So printed resources are the cornerstone of library collections, encompassing physical materials such as books, periodicals, newspapers, and other printed material. So when you are talking of printed resources, what are the printed resources? Books, periodicals, newspapers, other printed materials. Now, these are tangible. Now, electronic, the book, until and unless you have your book in your hand, you don't get the feel of it. And only when you have the book in your hand, you feel, yes, now I can really understand, because, you are in the habit of physical book. But now this generation has got into the habit of reading online also. So it is the same feeling which we in our generation used to get with the help of a tangible book, which we are able to touch. So one of the key advantages of printed resources is their tactile nature, providing a tangible reading experience that many individuals find pleasurable and immersive. So, some people want a book in their hand. Only then they are able to comprehend the things. They can go back, move forward. But yes, you can do that even on the digital thing. But that is it is a question of just a habit. The physical presence of books and other printed material also allows for easy browsing. Some people find it very easy to browse through the book if it is a printed book. Then, and the ability to annotate or highlight text, they will underline something, they will, write the meaning over there. So all these things are very handy if you have a printed book. So, it is for the deeper understanding of various subjects. They offer a sense of permanence, and when you have a book in your hand and when you write something, it goes to it. It has a lot of retaining capacity when you write something in the book. When you go for each and every meaning of the word, or the concept, and when you make your own notes over there, it helps you to understand. So it is permanently etched in your mind, preserving knowledge across generations, allowing for historical context and scholarly references. Furthermore, printed resources can be particularly beneficial for those who prefer a screen-free reading. There are people who cannot read on the screen. So now this new generation can read, but again, there are some people who cannot read. So people who prefer screen-free reading experience, they have limited access to digital resources. Despite the rise of electronic alternatives, printed resources continue to hold their own, providing a tangible and trusted medium for learning, research, and intellectual exploration within library collections. Now, online printing resources for literally, nowadays you can print literally anything. Now, for example, if you want to gift something, if you want to give a coffee mug to your friend, you can literally print the photograph of your friend, write something on the cup. So whatever you want to write, you can. So you can literally print anything. So, but right now we'll be concentrating only on the research part. But for for the fun of it, you can read what is Social Print Studio, then Mixbook, MPix, MOO, that is Jukebox, Canvas Pop. All these things are fun and you can read all this, but we'll move on to the things which are used for research. So print resources. So in this digital age, there are many sources to consult for research and study. So internet provides resources in many forms, but there is still value in consulting print resources. So everything is available digitally, but still there are certain things which are available only in the print resources. Oftentimes, using print resource is even a requirement in school. Because you need, many a times hard copies are important. So hard copies of resources, physical books, newspapers, they're very important. Several types of print resources that can, now let us see which are the different types of print resources. We have letters, journal entries, speeches, interview transcripts, then printed photographs, political pamphlets, all these are the print resources. People often use print resources when researching a paper or a project. So for instance, imagine you are writing an essay about the life of Emily Dickinson. So consulting some of her letters would provide insight into her relationships and feelings. So, if you are doing this kind of a research, you will need to have the physical, the letters, but nowadays all the letters are also in the digital format. They must have, you can scan the letters and put it on the net. So nowadays everything is available, but when you read the letter, when you get the feel of the letter, you understand what kind of paper was used, what kind of words were used. But this can be scanned every time. Maybe the digital or e-copy might not be available. So for that, and for especially the older things, you need to have the print versions, print copies. Now, secondary print resources. Secondary sources are interpretations of primary sources. We know. So the following are examples of secondary print sources. Which are the secondary print sources? Academic journal articles. So the original novel is the primary source, but if there are some journal articles based on the novel, they will form the secondary source. Academic theses and dissertations on a particular topic, they will form the secondary source. Then magazine articles on the particular topic, they will be secondary source. Newspaper articles, textbooks, encyclopedia, atlases. Now, people consult secondary print sources all of the time. So, as we have primary sources, that is original novels, they are primary sources, but something, the interpretation, analysis, done by another person, that forms the secondary source. Whether they realize it or not, people consult them for a paper or project. In the same way, they consult primary sources. So as we read the novels, as we read the primary source, we read the secondary sources also to get better information, to get better idea about the primary source. But they might also read a secondary source like a newspaper as a part of their morning routine. Secondary sources provide a lot of nuanced insights into the topics they cover. So you get insights into your topic when you read secondary sources. Okay. As they go beyond presenting the raw information like a primary source. In the primary source, you will get the raw information, you will get the, for example, if it is a novel, but if you want to get the different interpretation, analysis of a particular thing, so you will have to read the different interpretations by different authors, by different people who might have researched on these novels and given their interpretation of the novel. So no matter what source you use, you must ensure it is credible. So this is more important. What source you are using, it should be credible. Now, what is a credible source? A credible source is a source that is trustworthy and comes from a knowledgeable author. So this is a credible source. Credible sources have often been vetted by several reliable persons, like they should be a team of scholars who evaluate and publish scholarly journal articles. So these, if the articles are by scholarly people, they are considered to be really credible sources. Okay. Now, when using sources that were published before the internet, so this is mostly, print resources are nowadays mostly used for things which were there before the internet was available. So you will likely have to use the print sources unless they are from a source that have been digitized. But now most of the things have been digitized, but still a lot of things are yet to be digitized, and therefore you need to use the print resources. So you may have to go to an archive for that, to consult print sources, especially when doing historical research. So an archive is a place that, now what is an archive? It is a place that stores large collections of print resources for researchers to consult. So, you can go to the archives and find out the books which you really want for your research. There are libraries, there are museums, which are excellent examples of archives available for public research. Now, there are several scenarios in which one might use printed sources, like when conducting research for a research paper or when studying. Then, now what are the importance of print resources? It adds to the historical perspective. Now, drawing from older print resources can help researchers examine how a topic or presentation of a topic has changed over time. So this is the importance of print. You can read different print resources from a particular time, then from on the similar topic, what has been done in this particular decade. So, you can read from different times, and you can see what are the changes which have come over. So, for instance, imagine a researcher wants to compare how public perception of a famous author has changed over time. So, yes, so this is a very important thing, how has the public perception, the way you look at a particular author, how the perception has changed over time, what the people used to say in the maybe 18th, 17th century, what was the opinion in the 18th century now, is it relevant now? Look at the writings of that particular author, are they relevant now? So, there are many things on which you should, concentrate. So for that, you require the maybe the sources are not digitized, and therefore you require the print resources. So to accomplish this task, they could consult print newspaper articles from years ago and compare them with recent web publications of the author, on the author. So this is a way to find out the importance of print resources. Now, creating nuanced research. When conducting research on most topics in the humanities, it is beneficial to draw from many types of sources to develop a comprehensive perspective on the topic. So if you are researching, definitely you need to refer to different sources, whether print or whether, and because if you want to get a comprehensive perspective, you need to refer to different sources. So expanding the research process beyond the internet also allows researchers to consult various. So internet is there, but it is not enough. Many things are not available on the internet also. So you have to take, you have to go to the print sources such as journal entries, maps, letters, all the photographs. Then memory retention. With the print resource, I told you memory retention. People, if you have a printed book in your hand, it will help you to retain whatever you have read better, because many people are not used to right now read on screen. Therefore, it is very difficult for them to retain, and memory retention is really difficult. Now, disadvantages of the print sources. First and foremost, what are the disadvantages? Time. Sorting through print resources takes much more time than researching digital sources. Now, just now I told you there are so many tools, so you can just organize your material, you can analyze certain things faster. So, it saves your time, it is more organized. So there are, for citations also, you don't need to do anything manually. So, these so citations also become very handy. Then access is also very important. Printed things are not really easy to access, but if something is digitized, it is really helpful to access. So that is important. Then but there are some advantages of the print resources also. It helps you to focus. So the focus, if you want to really, because on the screen many people are not able to focus. But here, if you have have a paper in your hand, it helps you to focus. So engagement. So engagement is more, you are engaged with the printed source, printed thing in your hand. You are more, you tend to engage better if you have something in your hand. Readers can I told you, readers can underline parts, and then you can write the meaning. So you get engaged to whatever you are reading. Then it helps you in your health also, because when you are reading online, it strains your eyes, but it takes a toll on your health also. But with printed books, this is not the case. So now we move on to the primary and secondary sources. So I hope you must have understood what are the different resources and how they are to be used. All these details, things which are there for the detailed study, they will be asked for 16 marks. It will be a 16 marks question, and you have to write in detail. So now we come to primary and secondary sources. This is very important. You should be able to identify the primary and secondary sources. What are the primary sources and what are the secondary sources? Now, primary sources are first-hand contemporary accounts of events created by individuals. So, okay, if you have written the novel, then you are the author and this is your primary source. Okay. If you are conducting an interview, that is a first-hand thing which you are taking an interview of a person. So that is a first-hand thing, information which you are getting directly from somebody. So that is your primary source. Now, diaries, memoirs, personal histories, all these form primary sources. These original records can be found in several media such as print, artwork, and audio and visual recordings. So these are the examples of primary sources. Even manuscripts, newspapers, speeches, cartoons, photographs, videos, artifacts, all these are primary sources. Primary sources can be described as those sources that are closest to the origin of the information. So this is more important. You can underline this. So if whatever is very close to the origin of information, that forms your primary source. They contain raw information and thus must be interpreted by the researcher. So it needs interpretation. Okay, it is the first-hand information which you are getting directly from the writer or the author. Secondary sources. Now, what are the secondary sources? Secondary sources are closely related to primary sources and often interpret. So I told you primary sources there, which is the raw information, and when you interpret them, when you analyze it, whoever analyzes it, whoever interprets it, the interpretation and analysis, it forms the secondary source. So these sources are documents that relate to information that originated elsewhere. So, if you have a secondary source, you know that the origin is somewhere else. Secondary sources often use generalizations, analysis. So what are the secondary sources? Secondary sources means it is analysis, it is interpretation, it is synthesis of primary source. Examples of secondary sources include textbooks, articles, and reference books. Now, what is the difference between primary and secondary source? So, when you do research, you have to gather information and evidence from a variety of sources. Primary sources provide raw information. This is what we have understood now, that primary sources, they provide raw information and first-hand evidence. Examples, already we've talked about the primary sources. Those are interviews, statistical data, survey, which you must have conducted. So it gives you direct access to the subject of your research. And in the secondary source, what are the secondary sources? They provide second-hand information, and maybe it is a commentary from other researchers. So these are the things which are available in journal articles, reviews, and academic books. Now, primary sources are more credible as evidence, but good research uses both. So when you are doing research, it is not like only the primary resource will not be sufficient. You will have to use secondary sources also to get a better idea about the topic. So a primary source is anything that gives you direct evidence about the people. Yes, we've talked about this. And primary sources will usually be the main object of your analysis. So if you are researching the past now, you cannot directly access it yourself. So you need primary sources that were produced at the time by participants or people who must have witnessed, that is letters, photographs, all those things they form. If you want something from the past, you have to refer the photographs of the past, and those will form the primary sources. Okay. Now, secondary source is anything that describes, interprets. Already we've talked about this also, and you will find the interpretation analysis in the books, in the encyclopedias, in reviews. Okay. Now, examples of sources that can be primary or secondary. The same, now we'll just differentiate between primary and secondary. A secondary source can become a primary source depending on your research question. So it is very important for you to understand when a source can be called primary source and when it can be called as a secondary source. For example, now see, if you are researching the cause, if you are doing your research on the causes of World War II, what were the causes of World War II? And for that, if you look, if you refer a documentary, a recent documentary about the war, it will form a secondary source. Why? Because it is talking more, it is not, it is talking more about, it is giving you the reasons, it is giving you the causes of the secondary war. So, it is the analysis and interpretation, and therefore it is secondary source. But if you are researching the filmmaking techniques in historical documents, then that documentary will form the primary source. Okay. So this is how you should differentiate between primary and secondary source. Now, if I'll give you this so that you can read in detail, but I have given you the idea of what a primary source is and what a secondary source is. Now, documentation skills are also very important. How everything needs to be organized. Okay. So for documentation skills are basically soft skills that can use to create concise professional documents. Now, employees use soft skills like communication skills, analysis, and organization skills to create documents that allow them to note important details in their records. So all the documentation is very important. How you keep the record, what you keep in the records. They can also use these skills to convey messages to other employees or customers through various mediums such as emails. So all these are emails also form a form of documentation. Many positions use these skills such as doctors who document patient records or software engineers who document codes. Now, communication skills. What are the examples of documentations? Now, communication skills. This is one of the documentation attributes. Having strong communication skill can help you to share information with recipients of your documents in a clear manner. If you have good communication skills, you'll be able to communicate better, whether in written communication. So written communication helps you to handwrite or type documents. Okay. Verbal communication will help you to present the content of your documents. So both the written and verbal skills, communication skills are important. Attention to detail. So a person who is documenting, he should pay attention to the details. That is more important. If the details are not given properly, then you will fail to understand the whole project or the whole thing. Attention to detail can help you to ensure all the information you include in your documentation. And you will understand whether the documentation it should be accurate, it should be presented well. So this attribute helps you proofread documents before you submit them to look for punctuation, spelling, grammar errors, all these things, okay? Then the research skills are very important. You should be able to have you should have good research skills. Many documentations such as essays or business plans require prior research to ensure that you are conveying accurate information. Now, having strong research skills means you can find relevant information quickly. If you have research skills, you know where to find information, how to find information. If you want to read an essay, where to look for information, that is more important. This skill can also help you use multiple sources of data effectively to find the exact information. Okay, if you want to Google, you should know what to type. Okay, so that is more important. What should you type? How to get the correct information. This allows you, because it saves time. If you have the researching skills, even if you want to browse for information, you should know how to look for material. Organization skills are also very important. So when creating documents, it's important for you to be organized. Otherwise, and especially when you are doing a research, if you're not organized, you will not be able to get the information which you have collected over time. They will not be available to you if you don't have organizational skills. So this helps you quickly find the information you need. So if you organize, it will help you to find the information quickly. Analytical skills you should have, because if you're doing research, you should have analytical skills. They will help you to analyze better. Whatever information you have, you should be able to analyze the information. You should be able to draw your conclusions. These and the skills also allow you to analyze your completed documentation for mistakes or omissions, so you can correct them to ensure your documents are professional. So, analytical. Then time management skills. Every person should have this important time management skill, because time is very important. You should be able to meet the deadlines. If you don't meet times, you get because if the thing should be done in a particular period, if that time is lost, then you have lost many times it happens that if you do not do things on time, then the whole relevance of that thing is lost many a times, because you have done it not within the time. So time is very important. Now, how to improve skills for documentation? So learn more about your target audience. So if you know your target audience, who are your target audience? So you will be able to tailor your documents according to the target audience. Then focus on communication. This is important. You should improve your communication by practicing, improve your written communication, verbal communications. So, these things are important as far as documentation. You should read more and you should get the feedback from people. So all these are the ways. Then again, how to do your documentation, how can you use your documentation skills in the workplace. So, even the documentation should be, it should be visually appealing. So whatever document, it should be stacked properly, done properly, written properly, organized properly, logically. It should, like when you read, it should help the readers gain attention. Okay. So that is important. Then there should be less technical terms, because they prove to be hindrance. Then add illustration so that you get across the point easily. Then now there should be certain things which you should highlight, how to highlight your documentation skills. So you can read this, because if it is a resume, what are the things which you need to highlight? In a cover letter, what you need to highlight? During an interview, what you need to highlight? So these are, because for maybe in a resume, if you are applying for a position that includes documentation responsibilities, you may want to highlight skills which are related to this task. So you should tailor your resume according to the job for which you are applying. So this is more important. Highlight what is targeted. So what do you want to achieve? That you should be able to highlight. Even in your cover letter, what are you writing the cover letter for? So just think about it and highlight those important points. Then we come to another important thing, and that is ethics of research. Ethics, I'll talk about ethics of research later. In short, ethics means it's a personal code of conduct based on respect for oneself, then respect for others and surrounding, and is governed by the principles or assumptions underpinning the way individuals or organizations ought to conduct themselves. So what are ethics? Basically, ethics means code of conduct. It is the behavior, and especially when you are talking about research, what are the ethics you need to follow? We'll talk about it in some time, but we'll move on to the last part, I think, and then we'll come to ethical research. Now, plagiarism is also important. Now, what is plagiarism? Plagiarism is the fraudulent representation of another person's language. Now, again, plagiarism, when you borrow, when you take ideas, thoughts, expressions, and when you use it as your own. So that is fraud. So it is, when you use it as your own original work, then it is a fraudulent thing. Although precise definition vary depending on the institution, in many countries and cultures, plagiarism is considered a violation of academic integrity. Okay, it is a violation of academic integrity and journalistic ethics. A person or entity that is determined to have committed plagiarism is often subject to various punishments. So a person who has committed plagiarism, he is subjected to punishments, and maybe he will be suspended, or maybe there is expulsion from school or work. There is some fine which might be he will have to pay, or there is imprisonment also, and there are other penalties which he will have to bear. So plagiarism is typically, it is not a crime actually, but it is a fraudulent thing. It can be punished in a court for fraud. It is like fraud. It can be punished in court for prejudices caused by copyright infringement, violation of moral rights. Okay, in academia and in industry, it is a serious ethical offense. Okay, plagiarism and copyright infringement. Now, what is the difference between plagiarism and copyright infringement? What is the difference? Okay, we'll talk about it. Now, what is plagiarism? Plagiarism, actually, in the 1st century, the use of Latin word plagiaris, it literally meant kidnapper, to denote stealing someone else's creative work. It was pioneered by Roman poet Martial, who complained that another poet had kidnapped his verses. So plagiarism, plagiary, a derivative of plagiarist, was introduced into English by dramatist Ben Jonson. Okay, so we've got this word plagiarism from there. Now, plagiarism is not the same as copyright infringement. So this is what I was talking about. What is the difference? Now, although both terms may apply to a particular act, they are different concepts and false claims of authorship. Now, false claim of authorship means you are claiming to be the author of that particular thing which is written. So when you claim authorship, false authorship, it constitutes plagiarism, regardless of whether the material is protected by copyright. Now, copyright means it is a violation of the right of copyright holder. So when material whose use is restricted by copyright. So, when a person writes a poem, he takes copyright for it, so that you cannot borrow, you cannot take the lines from the poem. So it is, if you take the lines from there, then it is a violation of the copyright. Okay. But plagiarism, in contrast, means what is happening is you are taking the material, you are not giving the credit to the person, and you are using it for your benefit. That is to get some academic credit, or maybe it is for getting some promotion. So, this is used for some benefit of the researcher. So this is plagiarism is also considered a moral offense. So plagiarism basically is a moral offense because you are not giving the credit to the owner. So this is basically the difference between plagiarism and copyright. Now, some institutes use plagiarism detection software to uncover potential plagiarism. Now, before you undertake any research, in whatever institute you are carrying out that research, they give you directions as to how to avoid plagiarism, which software you should use to really avoid plagiarism. And if students want to avoid plagiarism, they should be taught the ways and means to avoid plagiarism, how to write the information in their own words. Plagiarism detection software, it does not always yield accurate results, but some universities address the issue, that tell the students about the importance of integrity, because if students are given the orientation, which because it helps you to write your own views, give your own views and opinions in your own words. It helps you to clearly articulate, and so that you just don't copy paste, or you just don't borrow other, because if you copy paste, if you borrow ideas, it will never be a new addition to your the knowledge, and therefore it needs to be told to students. Number of students are brought before the institution's disciplinary boards on charges that they've misused sources in their schoolwork. Nowadays, you must have heard about ChatGPT. You must have heard about, there are so many AI, this thing, for example, content spinners are there, but ultimately you are using material which has been, which is the idea of basically a different author. So the most important thing is a person should himself feel that if you are really into serious research, you should avoid plagiarism. You should use your own ideas, and you should add to the knowledge, because your research means adding to knowledge. So, there are nowadays, there are so many types of plagiarism. One type of plagiarism is contract cheating. You hire somebody to write for you. So that is contract cheating. Okay, it involves students paying someone else, such as an essay mill. Nowadays, there is an essay mill also. This essay mill does their work for them. And if somebody else does their work, the work for you, it is not your work. You are hiring somebody for. So it is all contract cheating. Okay. So this kind of things are also in plagiarism. Now, because the most important thing is, it is predicated upon an expected level of learning and comprehension have been achieved. When you are asked to do a research, it is expected that you have learned so much, or you have come across, you have this level of understanding, or you have this academic accreditation. But now, when you take help and when you plagiarize, when you take help of experts, or when you involve yourself in contract cheating, you defeat the purpose of research. So for professors and researchers, plagiarism is punished. So, if somebody is found involved in plagiarism, all his sanctions are removed, ranging so that person did to, he can also be his duties can be terminated, and there can be loss of credibility also, and it is loss of integrity also, which is very, very important. If you lose your reputation, it is a very big loss. It is a great loss as far as your job is concerned. So you should avoid plagiarism. And right now we don't have much time, but these are the different types of, we'll just rush forward as what is nowadays. Now there is a plagiarism checker, so you can put your material into plagiarism and check whether there is some things which you have by mistake, which maybe you have not given credit to the author. So you should just make sure whether you have given the credit. So what is plagiarism? There are certain, a few points I'll read. Submitting someone's work as their own. When you submit someone else's work for your own, that is plagiarism. Taking passages from some previous work without adding citation. If you give citation, then it is no. You can, there is something called as self-plagiarism also. You cannot, if you have written something, if you take your own material also, it is self-plagiarism. Then using quotations, you are using quotations, but you are not citing the source. So that is also plagiarism. Then citing some, but not all. You are citing some, but you are not citing all. Passages that should be cited, Then inaccurately citing a source, or relying too heavily on other people's work, failing to bring original thought into the text. So if you're not giving anything original, if you're not adding to the knowledge, then it is plagiarism. Okay. Now we move ahead to the next part, and that is, we'll come to the last part. Now, skills for research presentation. This is the last part, and after that we'll just in short we'll move on to the ethics of research. So skills for this is these things are really, you are familiar with most of these things. The skills which you need for research presentation, first of all, is communication skills, for which you require clarity. You should have clarity of the ideas, avoiding jargon wherever possible. Then ensure that your audience, including those with non-specialist backgrounds, can understand your message. So, that is very important. What you are doing, whatever research you are doing, whatever you are putting forward, that should be understood by the targeted audience. Then conciseness. Present information in a concise manner. Okay. Use a conversational tone. Maintain eye contact. When you are giving a research presentation, you should have eye contact with your audience. Then organization. How you structure your presentation is very important. The visual hierarchy is very important. Then the transitional phrases, to smoothly transition between different sections of your presentation, that is important. Then the visual design, the slide design, the data visualization, and then avoid clutter on slides. This how your slides should be. There should be very less information on the slide, and you should be able to explain all your slides. Then see that your presentation is done within time. So time management is also very important. You should be prepared for your question and answer. Okay, and after your presentation also, you should always have some time, allocate time for audience questions. So if the audience have some questions, you can solve their queries. So you should keep time for question answers also. Then confidence, and your body language should be such so that you prove to be confident. Yes. Then your voice modulation should be such that you are not monotonous, and people would be attentive to whatever you are saying. Then flexibility, then adaptability, all these things are very important as far as your presentation skills are concerned. Now there are different kinds of presentation skills, but the ones which I discussed right now, they are the important ones. Okay. Now this I will give you in the form of notes, so that you will be able to, you can read and be able to give your presentation, how to have your posture, then how should you have your voice modulation. So you should be an active listener, you should be, your writing skills should be important. So all these are the effective ways of presentations. And last but not the least, I'll stop sharing this particular presentation, but we'll move on to the ethics of research. And if I can just find out that, just a moment. Okay. So the most important thing is, just let me see. Okay, from this only. So, okay, we'll just in 5 minutes, we'll take up ethical research. Just now, what is ethics in research? This is also very important. Are you able to see the screen where I'm sharing?
Yes, ma'am, this is visible.
This particular thing on ethics.
Yes, ma'am,
this I found very important. When most people think of ethics, they think of rules for distinguishing between right and wrong. So ethics means distinguishing between right and wrong, such as the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Or a code of professional conduct like the Hippocratic Oath. First of all, do no harm. Then a religious creed like the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill, or a wise aphorisms like the sayings of Confucius. This is the most common way of defining ethics, norms for conduct that distinguish between acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Now, ethics means the code for behavior, okay? Which behavior is accepted by society, which is not accepted by society, okay? Most people learn ethical norms at home. We teach our students in school, we teach our children at home what is the expected behavior. Almost most people acquire their sense of right and wrong during childhood only. So moral development occurs throughout life, and human beings pass through different stages of growth as they mature, okay? So ethical norms are, ethical norms are inculcated into the students or children right from childhood, and they learn what is good, bad, which things would hurt people, and as far as research is concerned, what are the things which we should take into consideration. Now another way of defining ethics, which focuses on disciplines that study standards of conduct, such as philosophy, theology, law, psychology, or social. For example, medical ethicist is someone who studies ethical standards in medicine. So one may also define ethics as method, procedure, or perspective for deciding how to act and for analyzing complex problems and issues. For instance, in considering a complex issue like global warming, one may take an economic, ecological, political, or ethical perspective on the problem. Now, there are many different disciplines, institutions, and professions which have norms for behavior and suit their particular aims and goals. For medicine, there are different ethics, for example, the experiments which are done on animals. So, there are certain rules, there are certain things which you need to observe. Well, so we'll just go through some of them. First, norms, they promote the aims of research, such as knowledge. There are certain things which you need to take into consideration. For example, some animals are harmed during some animals are experiments are conducted on animals, but the aim, what is the aim of research? It is for knowledge, truth, and advancement. What avoidance of error? For what is this particular research being done? So that is very, very important. For example, prohibition against fabrication, falsifying, or misrepresenting research data, promote the truth and avoid error. Now, why ethical norms in research are important? Why to avoid errors? There are certain, right now we don't have time, but there are certain cases wherein we can see, because of the errors which are conducted, or because due to oversight, or maybe these are also the severe mistakes which people are conducting when people are committing when they are conducting researches. Research often involves a great deal of cooperation and coordination among different people in different disciplines and institutions. So ethical standards promote the values that are essential to collaborative work. Now let us just see what are the codes and policies for ethics, research ethics. First of all, honesty is the most important thing. Strive for honesty in all scientific communications. Honestly report data. So if you are thinking about ethics, then the data, there are many people who do not give the data properly, or there are so many errors. So that is going against, that is not ethical. So methods and procedures and publication status. Now, do not fabricate or falsify or misrepresent data. This is important. Do not deceive colleagues. So do not deceive your colleagues. Granting agencies, people do this. For there are so many places from where you get grants, and people give wrong data, people fabricate things, people don't do the research, and write the data just on the basis of some superficial observation. So all these things need to be avoided. Then there should be objectivity. There should not be any biased things. So strive to avoid bias in experimental design, data analysis. There should be, when you are conducting research, when you are conducting the data analysis, there should not be any bias. You should not be biased. You should not have a biased opinion. So when you are having data and conducting data analysis, data interpretation, or when you are doing a peer review, so it should be done objectively. Then integrity. Keep your promises and agreements. Act with sincerity. Strive for consistency of thought and action. So there should be, when you are doing your research, integrity is most important. Carefulness. Avoid careless errors and negligence. Carefully and critically examine your own work and the work of your peers. So keep good records of research activities such as data collection, research design, and correspondence. Then you should be open. You should share your data, results, ideas, tools, resources. You should be open to criticism and new ideas. Then there should be respect for intellectual property. So honor the patents, copyrights, because yes, if you do not honor these, then it is against ethics. Then confidentiality. If you are expected to keep certain things confidential, then you have to obey that. Protect confidential communication. Do not leak papers, such as papers, grants submitted for publication, all these things. There are so many things which require confidentiality. Then responsible publication is also very important. Publish in order to advance research and scholarship. Your aim should be to advance research. So not to advance just your career. So avoid wasteful and duplicative publication. Responsible mentoring. Help to educate, mentor, and advise students. Promote their welfare and allow them to make their own decisions. This is important. Then respect for colleagues. You should treat them fairly. Social responsibility is also important. Strive to promote social good, prevent and mitigate social harms through research, public education, and advocacy. There are so many things, Animal care, for example, just now I talked about animal care also. Show respect and care for animal when using them in research. Do not conduct unnecessary or poorly designed animal experiments. Only when they are, how the experiments can be done, and how many animals are required. All these things are very, very important things which should be taken into consideration. Human subjects protection. There is so much of data and regarding the human beings, and the confidentiality about the personal information also should be taken into consideration. So there are certain cases also, but right now I don't think I'll be able to take all these. But I think you must have got an idea about what ethics is, and what are the ethics which you need to follow in research. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Anybody? Because I think it was a long session, and you can ask your difficulties if you have.
Ma'am, I don't see any questions in the chat box. But
Okay.
students, you're free to unmute yourself and ask questions related to whatever madam has covered. It was a long session of 2 hours and very exhaustive. And I'm really sure that the students have got all inputs. Very important because madam has dealt all the topics which are going to be there in the examination. So the examination point of view was what madam has targeted. And if you have any questions, students, please go ahead. I think they'll need some study material, ma'am.
Yes. That's why I took it from a book, and I made it easy for them, and this will be circulated to the students so that once they read, because there are so many things which they must have come across for the first time only. There are so many resources they must have not heard also about all those resources. So they need to really go and check for themselves, type on the internet and see for themselves how the particular tools, techniques, and the resources, what are the resources which are available, what are the tools which are available. So, they are all interesting things, but they need to really work and see for themselves. Otherwise, you will just reading it won't help. You should operate all these things on your own, because once you are doing your research, once you do these things on your own, you'll never forget. So it's not it is very interesting. You should use these research tools, make use of these research tools, because only once you get into the habit, things become easier.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. So thank you very much, madam, for such a richly informative session. You have included all the details of the background topics as well as the detailed topics also. And you have talked about Project Gutenberg. I think this is going to be very important wherever original source is concerned. And there are so many things available on Project Gutenberg. I have gone through it myself and have been using it since some time. And the authenticity basically of that source is great. And students, you can obviously go to all the sources which madam has talked about. She has also talked about the research style whenever we are attempting the academic writing part, about the citation, about the plagiarism, the electronic sources, impact factor, viva voce, tools and techniques for literary research. All these topics, madam has given us great insights, and I'm sure that the students have found them useful. Thank you so much, ma'am, on behalf of all the PG departments of the collaborating colleges to take out your valuable time and be our resource person. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to have this interaction with the students, and I enjoyed this session. But if students would have interacted, I think it would have been better, because you come to know whether they are really following. But I'll be distributing, or I'll be sharing my notes so that people would because these are the things which I have collected, so they'll get it. It will be easy for them to refer, and things would be easier. So thank you, students, and thank you. I thank the organizers. Yeah.